The following Dungeons & Dragons actual play podcast is based on real events from the history of American crime. Some of this imagery might be upsetting. Listener discretion is advised.
Infinite power, infinite power, infinite power, infinite power, infinite power. Infinite power.
Because you asked me for ID, I want to see his ID.
Well, he says, okay, so that's one answer, and then he turns to Alos, and he says, how would you define damnation in your own words?
Your soul sitting on the lake of fire.
Praise be.
Your soul on the lake of fire, burning for eternity. You want to be responsible for that?
He notes that down, and then he turns to Paul, and he says, all right, so in your own words, how would you define damnation? And so could you guys make a perception check?
And
That's funny, baby.
All right. So Alos doesn't see anything. I think he's probably got himself worked up into like a little bit of a lather about this lake of fire stuff. But Nim sees that familiar kind of glow coming off of Paul. You see it really emanating, especially from his eyes, around his mouth a little bit, from his fingertips. But overall, like, there is suddenly this powerful glow coming off of him.
Better question is, can Joseph see it? Or am I the only one that's seeing the glow right now?
No, he does not see it. You're the only one. He's rolled a 1, 2, and a 3. No joke tonight. So you see this, and given what's happened already...
Oh, man. And then looks back to Alos. He just shakes his head. I gotta hit him.
Gotta hit him.
What would Alos say back to Nim? As he says that.
Cop on Paul. It didn't go well when you hit Paul last time.
I'm not trying to get arrested. Joseph, can we have a second?
You say that just as Paul is, like, he takes a step forward, and he says in this, like, almost, like, Bane-ish kind of voice, like, he starts to say, damnation is, and then Nim swoops in and is like, Joseph, let's talk. And Joey holds up a finger to wait, like, to signal, like...
Oh, no.
Excuse me?
And he says, I'm supposed to hear all three.
He just told you what damnation is.
He said damnation is. Oh, and then his eyes light up like it's he almost fell for like a trick question on a pop quiz. And he says, oh, all right, I guess. I'm not super good at this stuff. And so just before Paul could like lay down some actual damnation on him, Joey Greenhorn ducks back inside. And so he comes back in and he looks kind of rattled. Percy and Zafira would see that he's rattled. And he says, well, I got their answers about damnation.
Percy just kind of... He's just like, I can't believe that stalled for that long. And he just kind of glances over at Zafira and is like, well, let's see where this road goes.
No, go ahead and let him in.
Well, but don't you want to hear what I thought you wanted to know. Before
If they gave the answer, Joey, then obviously they know.
Joey's so confused right now. He says, all right, this is kind of not really following protocol, but you've got the license. And so he goes to open the door and show Nim and Alos and Paul into the room. Before they come in, though, I would like a save from Percy. I want a wisdom save.
Okay. 15.
Okay, so you feel a tingling in the hand that's carrying the book. And if you have the book in both hands, you would feel it like wherever the book is making contact with you.
Okay. Let's see, so he just kind of flinches and he immediately, like, tosses the book away out of sight, like away from...
Okay, so I need perception checks from Nim and Alos. As you guys walk into the room and you see there's a dead body on the floor and there are two people in the room and one of them may have just made a sudden movement, but I want to know if you saw it or not.
Alright, I'm also going to do a sleight of hand check because I'm going to pick Joseph's pocket as I walk in.
Okay.
I got an 8 on the perception check.
Okay, so Alos doesn't see it.
My perception is plus
Still
4.
very wrapped up in my southern preacher.
15 for the perception.
Okay, so I think there should probably be some kind of contested thing here, so...
And 19 for sleight of hand, so plus 6.
Okay. So I think just a dex check from Percy, just to see, like, how that throw went. Basically an attack roll. You gotta beat a 15.
I did not.
What did you get?
Got 4.
Okay.
And a 4.
4.
It's 8.
Yeah. So again, you guys come in, and as you walk by Joey, Nim like pats him on the shoulder. Very, very familiar with him, and you're able to pick his pocket. You get his wallet as you go in, and you also see the man he threw something like the instant that you guys came in. He threw it off to his right, to your left.
In that wallet would there be his ID badge?
You're
Not
gonna,
his actual badge, but like a photo ID.
you're gonna look at his. You're gonna,
Equivalent that we have here in Backline.
so just to be clear, you picked his pocket, and you're gonna look through it right when he's there.
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure, man.
Well, I assume Joseph is going back out.
Yeah, he's gonna go back out.
It's like,
Well, he's very curious. I mean, he wants to see, given the sort of the trials that he was just made to go through, he wants to make sure that these introductions go well, and the fact that Percy raised the possibility that these could be doppelgangers, or so he's very interested in this, kind of like a kid would be, like a little kid would be.
all right, so I will not check it.
Okay.
He's gonna stay.
All right.
But I see him throw the book.
Yes.
I see where it landed.
Yeah.
All right. Where did it land?
It's just on the floor in this study. It's a room. There's a desk in there. There's bookcases on every wall. All kinds of clutter on the desk itself. There doesn't seem to be any like organization really. The book is now in the middle of the floor.
Just in the middle floor.
Yep.
Is it close to the body?
No.
Okay.
No, he got some distance on it. Just not very subtle.
All right. So Nim's going to start pacing around the room with his, he's got the black book behind his back, just strolling along the room, and he's just looking up and down,
Okay.
in the surroundings. But he kind of figures why did this guy throw this book?
There's also a dead body on the floor right in front of you.
That's not the first time Nim's seen a dead body.
Not even today.
Damn it.
Okay.
So he'd make his way around the room and conveniently stop right above the book,
Okay.
and then turn around and then face everyone so that's Alexander Tate.
Okay, so this is what Nim's entrance looks like. What is Alos gonna do?
Probably I would head over to the body and then start pretending to administer last rites. Maybe I'm pulling out a flask or something and dumping it on him.
Okay. So Zafira, you see these two come in. what do you do?
I'm gonna notice that Joey hasn't left yet, haven't I?
Yeah.
First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, wait just a second before you touch anything. Joey, you're gonna need to leave us to this. Gonna probably get a little confidential. If you don't mind, go watch the door.
He looks disappointed, and he nods his head, and he leaves.
Okay. Is there anything, like, that Zafira can tell right off the bat about these people? Can she tell if they're really, like, religious people here to administer last rites? Does that sound fishy to her? Does it, especially with her experience dealing with, like, higher beings?
Yeah, so I think it would be a religion check from you with advantage against their deception checks.
Okay. 14.
Okay, and then
16 on deception.
19 on deception.
okay, and you took
to do this.
you took advantage, right, Bree?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I rolled a 4 and an 11,
Oh, okay.
and I have a +3 mod.
Yeah, so it's not like anything you've ever seen before. You know that religion in the city does go through a lot of, like, it's constantly in flux, right? Different faiths are constantly being merged and reconfigured and split, and so maybe these two represent some sort of schism that you are not familiar with, but as far as you know, everything's on the up and up.
Okay. Who are you? Names? Where are you from? Who do you represent? How did you find out about this? God, I feel like Solar.
Nim looks at her, and the better question is your name.
No. I asked first.
Well, I am Brother Nim. This is Brother Alos.
And Percy just kind of cuts in, and he just goes, "Real brothers or backfire brothers?"
Oh my god, I hate you. Man,
I'm not sure what you mean, sir.
I'm broken.
Broke the DM, guys. Does that mean we win?
You guys win D&D.
Absolutely.
You drop in the the Day of the Dead reference, and oh man,
Percy just goes, I'm just trying to figure out, because it's been a weird night. So I'm just wondering if you all are actually brethren of the cloth, and he kind of says it like even he's confused, or if there's more here about a dead body than we're all not saying.
Oh, so you don't mean like brothers, like same mother, same father? Oh, okay.
Dude,
All right, no, we are brothers of the cloth.
Do I believe him?
make another contested check. Perception and
Insight.
Both Nim and myself, or just Nim since he's the one talking?
just Nim for now.
17.
Would it be perception or insight? 'Cause
I think
it's usually
insight. Insight.
Yeah. 19.
Yeah, you do not believe what Nim is saying.
Okay. Zafira is just gonna look directly at him and bullshit.
Nim, highly offended. Highly offended.
Zafira does not care.
We'll turn to her. And who are you?
Zafira,
Zafira. Officer Zafira?
investigator, I'm with him. She points to Percy.
Percy just kind of nods.
Now it's like tit for tat, and Nim's like, don't appreciate being called out. Because he usually gets away with it. Does he believe them?
Yeah, make those checks again. Insight for Nim and deception for Zafira and Percy, I guess.
Come on, come on. Nat 20.
Damn it!
I rolled a 17, but I have +5 for deception.
Team with the +5 for deception.
Oh no.
It's a 22 with a nat 20, so.
Yeah, it's all 22.
Yeah. I gotta give you something for that crit, but I don't know what. But they definitely seem to be like, you have this private investigators guild certificate, from Percy Grits, authorizing him to be here.
So we're all like in this standoff, and Percy just Percy glances at the door, glances at where Nim's standing because he's around the area where he threw the book.
Oh, his foot is on the book.
Oh, he doesn't care about Nim standing on.
Let's make sure.
But he's looking at the door and starting to piece stuff together because the book, he's characterizing it. The book bit him once they walked in. That's why he threw it.
Okay.
Looks at the door, looks back at where the book is, looks at the door back, and he thinks about it. He goes, it's been just such a weird night. You guys ever had a book bite you?
The only book I ever read is the book of the great pantheon of gods.
And Percy just goes, okay, but seriously, have you you've had a good book, like not the good book, but a good book, and you've been holding it and it bites you and you have to throw it somewhere? Because the weirdest thing happened to me when you guys came in.
Whoa, hold on, time out, relax. Nim gives the eye to Alos across the room, come over here. He doesn't care even if it's obvious. Just get over here.
I walk over, striding confidently.
Actually, would Zafira, hearing Percy say that the book bit him, would she, would that ring any bells for her? Anything?
Yeah, roll for it. Whatever you think would be, whatever angle you want to take.
Okay, I'll make an Arcana check.
Okay.
21.
Yeah, so it does sound familiar, although not literally biting somebody. She would know that there is a school of magic that would allow books to sort of enchant their readers, and that maybe Percy felt that enchantment starting to take hold, or maybe there was some other spell that the book was trying to sort of automatically cast.
Does it sound like it could have something to do with them coming in, or that it was just a coincidence?
As far as the book having sentience enough to react to people specifically and try to enchant people, that's not something you've ever heard of before. So I think she would think it was probably more of a coincidence than an actual because if it was a trap, she would reason that he would have felt it already.
Okay. Zafira's gonna look at Percy and be like, bit you? You mean it... That sounds like some sort of magic. I don't know why. You were just holding the book, right?
And Percy just nods and says, yeah, and then I threw it. And, it was over in this general direction. He's being very obvious as to, gesturing around them. Just, he just doesn't care. It's so I threw it over here. And, I was just wondering.
It sounds like something I've seen before. I'd have to take a closer look at the book, so...
Well, does Nim have his foot on the book?
Yep.
Make a wisdom save.
Alright, hold on. What's plus 2? 19.
Yeah, okay. You feel this, tingling sensation going up through the arch of your foot up to your ankle.
Does it feel like when Paul was choking the life out of me?
No.
Well, that's good.
Speaking of Paul, what is he doing while we're...
I was wondering how long it would take for you guys to remember that he's here. He has... he's walked around the body a couple of times, and right now he is in the process of trying to straddle and really sit on the chest of Desmond Tate, right over the burn.
Can we blatantly see this, or?
Oh yeah. He's not trying to be
Sir, what are you doing exactly? He
ignores you.
I whisper to Nim. I'm I was just joking about the fetish thing, but
and Percy just goes, "Do they do that at your church? Because that's weird."
At your church.
Is this one more of our intense rituals? Yes.
Well, in that case, you guys can handle that one.
Hey, Paul, what you doing?
His eyes are closed, and he's kind of muttering to himself. He's putting his hands on the scorch marks on Tate's chest, and you would recognize that he's trying to heal him.
Dude, he's dead. Like, trust me, I know dead. He's dead.
Like, you would be able to see, like, the magic coming from his hands. And he's probably cast cure wounds at least once or twice by now. And so you would see, like, maybe the burn marks are going away a little bit, but there's obviously no life in him. And he says, I was afraid. I never liked him, but to see him here like this, I didn't know what else.
Erased evidence of what happened to him, so good job for you.
Maybe I erased the evidence on this realm, but surely as investigators you would have documented this already. So neither here nor there.
Oh, goddamn fucking religious types, I swear to God.
There's just with his arms crossed, like, yep, just nodding.
We just lost our sponsorship from the Vatican. So
Okay.
And Percy just kind of like looks at the exchange, and Percy goes, "Yeah, you might have done a job on those burns, but what about the wolf marks on his neck?"
he looks up and he says, "Wolf marks," and he looks at the scars on Tate's neck, and they're very faded, and he would say, you know, these don't. His death was not brought about by any kind of wolf.
Do people mean wolf, or am I just like losing my mind here? Anybody, like you guys? She'll point to Nim and Alos. Like,
Nim's like, I've heard it both ways.
I guess I'm just shut-in then. Okay.
To the question about that, Paul would say that he thought it was just a dialect thing, like maybe it's something kids these days are saying. I'm not familiar with slang.
And Percy just goes, "Well, I hit my head once, and I've just been in trouble ever since."
I'm just gonna start muttering to
He got hit on the
Yeah.
head too.
That's true. And Paul feels the mouse that he still has on his head. And it's smaller than it was, and he kind of looks sympathetically over at Percy, and he says, I understand the pain of a head injury. I've been dealing with memory issues myself these past 24 hours or so. My sense of time is still a little shaky, but my friends here have been very helpful, and for the most part have been very helpful in helping me remember who I am.
And Percy just kind of flinches, and he goes, "You've been missing time?"
I think as a result of there was I was told that there was some sort of fight happened at a bar in the underneath, and some brigand hit me.
And Percy just kind of goes, "Okay, now this might sound a little weird, but considering you're sitting on a dead body, I'm sure that it's not the weirdest thing you're going to hear today. But have you ever heard of anyone seeing a copy of themselves?"
He would but he kind of like lowers his weight down onto Tate's midsection, and it like to sit back and think, like he's forgotten that he's sitting on a dead body, and there's this like it's like sitting on a whoopee cushion. And he kind of like is surprised momentarily, and he gets up off of him, and he thinks, and he says, seeing seeing copies of ourselves is part of life, is part of aging. We grow older and we see younger versions of ourselves and people and strangers on the streets.
No, dude, look, he means
Praise be
like
protocol.
he means an actual copy of yourself as you are now, physically standing in front of you.
And Percy just gives a thumbs up.
He says, not that I can recall. I don't think I have.
So Percy goes, okay, just checking. Because he's trying to regroup. And he goes, well, since you all are here to administer the last rites, I'm sure that we could probably say a few words. Since we're the last ones here.
Does Nim still have his foot on the book?
Sure does.
Can you make another wisdom save?
16.
All right. The tingling is still happening. It's really his entire foot and starting to move up his shin a little bit.
Is Nim enjoying it?
I don't think so. It's like sort of that uncomfortable, like pins and needles kind of feeling.
Okay, so he's like grin and bearing it because he kind of wants this book.
Yeah.
So he's just like, he's making do. He's just like,
Okay.
So you guys want to say some final words?
First, just kind of, because let's do a perception check.
Okay.
Just because I just want to see something there. He's listening. Now Percy knows it. Percy's kind of got this feeling that something's up.
Okay.
Because he knows that the book is there, and he knows he's trying to stall out the stall, pretty much. So, let's see what we get. And I got a 19.
Okay. So are you trying to see, like, you're trying to notice the book?
Notice any discomfort, if anybody's starting to crack a little bit. Just getting a general read of the room to kind of place things.
Yeah, so I think you would sense that there's a lot of tension in the air right now, that everybody's pretty uncomfortable, especially Nim. Like he's got his foot on the book. You see this like grimace on his face.
Okay, so let's see. This person just kind of notices it. It's like, yeah, a couple words, but I think in order to do that, we kind of had to clear the air a little bit. So just a couple of questions, if you don't mind. One, Sarah, you doing all right? You okay?
You talking to me?
Yep.
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
Wait, why are we having these pleasantries when there's a dead man here in the middle of the floor? We've come here to perform these rites, and I don't know what kind of investigation you officers are performing here, but this is I've never seen anything like this. Ailes, have you ever seen this kind of investigation for murder before?
I have not, Master Nim.
Like, this is a little odd for me. So, if you guys wouldn't mind, you can call Joseph back in here, and you guys can clear the room so that we can perform these rites, and then we can leave.
I think this entire situation is a little off. Just saying, a little off from everyone.
The door opens.
It's a normal Tuesday for me, so I don't know what you
The door opens because Joey Greenhorn was listening at the door for any mention of his name, and he comes back in and he says, "Everything okay in here? You need anything from me?"
No, you can go back outside.
Yes, Joseph.
He's unsure what to do.
And Percy just goes, really quick, Joey, what's the difference between a brother and a master?
Well, my brothers are like my siblings.
Are like his siblings? They're only kind of his siblings.
Well, if we're gonna be literal, my brothers are my siblings. My masters are people that are are superior to me. And I guess my brother would say that he's superior to me. But he's kind of... he's kind of a bully. And anyway, what does this have to do with anything?
And Percy says, just checking, and he just sits down.
Joey says, have you administered the last rites? You guys shouldn't be in here if you've done the last rites. My bosses aren't going to be happy about this.
Joseph, my friend, we've been trying to do it this entire time. These two investigators.
Hi again, everybody. This is Dr. Andy Wilczak. I wanted to say thanks again for taking time to listen to the show. We really appreciate it. The reason why I wanted to make Strength Check into an actual play D&D podcast, when there are so many other actual play shows out there that are probably way better than anything that I could do, is I want to draw your attention to a project that I'm a part of here in northeastern Pennsylvania. We're calling it Play for Progress, and the idea is to use D&D and eventually, hopefully, probably other tabletop games to help middle school and high school kids who are struggling with mental health problems or addiction issues, or who feel alienated or isolated in some way. This part of Pennsylvania has been hit really, really hard by the opioid crisis. This part of Pennsylvania has a very high alcoholism rate. And this part of Pennsylvania is diversifying very quickly, and there are those who have capitalized on that to try to create more conflict between people. So we have a lot of kids here who are alone and who are suffering, and suffering mightily. So what we're doing, and the point of this message now, is to just let you know that we are raising money to make Play for Progress a sustainable force for good in the northeastern Pennsylvania area. If you have even $5 to spare for us, you can go to GoFundMe.com/playforprogress with hyphens between the words, so play-for-progress. And anything that you can give us will go a long way towards making us sustainable. Thank you.